Hey guys, it's Kamrin and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about intermittent fasting. I briefly kind of brought up that intermittent fasting and a lot of you guys had questions. We've all been in quarantine and like a lot of people, I started getting really emotional. It was pretty hard on me. I was also super bored and I was snacking like crazy. Long story short, quarantine 15 presented itself and I was shook. So I started researching and trying to find things that would help with weight loss as well as curbing cravings, and I came across intermittent fasting. For those of you that don't know what intermittent fasting is, it is a time period that you eat within and then you fast for the rest of that time period. During that time where you're fasting, you cannot consume any calories. You can have water, but you can't go and have like a Gatorade. You can't go have like a piece of toast because that has calories in it. So the most common fasting period is the 16-8 period. That means that you fast for a whole 16 hours and then you only have an eating window of 8 hours. I feel like it's the more approachable version of intermittent fasting. A lot of people kind of feel like intermittent fasting is starvation and it's really not good for you. That is actually quite the opposite. The benefits of fasting are weight and body fat loss, increased fat burning, lowered blood insulin and sugar levels, possible reversal of type 2 diabetes, possible improved mental clarity and concentration, increased energy, and possibly increased growth hormone, at least in the short term. Naturally, way back in the day before Wendy's and McDonald's came around, we all used to have to go out there and kill a tiger and eat it. And that's when we ate. So we naturally, when we would go hunting, obviously exerted energy. We hadn't eaten yet, so we were in sense performing cardio before we consumed our calories. Back then, obviously did not have access to Wendy's and McDonald's, and also didn't have the ability to intake as much calories as we do now. Like now, you think about it, you can go to Popeyes and get a meal that's like literally 2,800 calories and eat that in one sitting. Actually, we are not supposed to be intaking as many calories as we are, and we're also not supposed to be eating for as long periods as we are and as much as we are. So right now, the average person actually has an eating period of 15 hours. You don't even realize how much calories you're intaking, especially if you're not being mindful about the foods that you're eating. In fact, the average American consumes 3,770 calories. That's insane. The average female, if they're just not really moving around a lot, they only need about a 1,600 calorie diet. Nowhere near the almost 4,000 calories that we're eating. We tend to eat because we're bored. There's food around us everywhere. We don't really have to go out and, grab a spear and stab a tiger and eat it. We can just go to McDonald's and say, hey, I want a number one. Like, we don't even have to say I would like a burger with this and that. Like, you just say a number. So this is where intermittent fasting comes in and is really beneficial. It creates a structured time period for you to eat. So for those that are just beginning fasting, the first 2 weeks are probably going to be the hardest weeks. That's when your body is kind of adjusting to the whole thing. When I first started out, I liked to use this app called Zero. It is a free app. It lets you choose what format of fasting that you want to do. Use it kind of like a timer. It'll notify you when your fast is about to end, when you can start eating, when your fasting has begun. I also like it because it has a lot of sources that can give you more information on fasting. Like I've stated before in a few videos, I really struggle with binge eating and I'm a serious emotional eater. So for me, when I started intermittent fasting, it was really difficult for me at first, but it started to give me the structure that I really needed to understand, like, hey, you can't eat outside this time period. Like, you had 8 whole hours to eat. You are not really hungry. And it actually helped me really evaluate how much I was bored eating and how much I was actually eating because I needed those calories. And it also kind of brings to light just how little we're actually hydrating our bodies and how much our hunger that we think is hunger half the time is really just thirst. So I also started to notice a really big increase in energy for me. A lot of times we're eating really shitty foods that mess with our energy levels. If you've ever eaten a really super big meal and then you're like, oh God, I'm so tired, stops you from eating super late at night and having that heavy food on you going way into the morning and making you feel super sluggish. So like I said before, the first 2 weeks are really tough, especially for me because I'm very food focused. I advise trying it for 2 weeks. If you feel like after 2 weeks it's just like it's making you obsessed with food and you can't handle it and it's just driving you nuts, then it's not for you. Intermittent fasting is not for everybody. It can make people like super food focused, and then other people it kind of clears those cravings and eliminates that. Personally, for me, that's how it was, but for other people, I've heard like it does the complete opposite and it makes them binge eat like crazy because they've been thinking about food all day, and then when they finally get to be able to eat, they go nuts. Don't beat yourself up if it's not for you. When I first started intermittent fasting, I was doing the 16-8 period. So I would eat from like 11 to 8, I think. And I actually found that was really, really horrible for me because I'm more of a night person. So I like to be up a little bit later at night. And I would find that I would be so hungry at 10 o'clock, like insanely hungry. I just couldn't handle it. So I actually switched my time period to a little later. So I don't break my fast now till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And also some days I don't strictly follow the 18-6 rule. Some days I won't even intermittent fast on the weekend. It's really an intuitive thing. Listen to your body. I find that when I'm first thing in the morning, I'm super, super hungry. But I have found that if I just get up, I brush my teeth, I go drink some water, and I just go straight into doing my cardio, that hunger kind of goes away. If you're doing intermittent fasting for optimal fat loss, you want to make sure that you're doing all of your cardio and your weight training fasted. It has actually been proven that doing your weight training while fasted will help you grow your muscle more. There's a video all about that where the guy goes into it more scientifically, so I'll have it down in the description box down below for you guys to check out. He also talks about where after you perform your weight training, you want to make sure that you go about 2 to 3 hours after your weight training and continue that caloric burning that's going on and not eat. It's not going to be the end of the world. You'll still get results if you go ahead and eat right after, but he says if you're really, really trying to get that optimal fat loss, it's going to be best to wait about another 2 to 3 hours. So another thing you want to make sure that you're doing is that you're not breaking your fast with really shitty food. If you're looking for optimal fat loss, and that's why you're doing intermittent fasting, do not go and eat the same 3,700 calories in that 8-hour window that you normally would eat in your 15-hour window. It's a waste of time. When I first started intermittent fasting, it was really, really hard for me. So I figured, oh my God, I'll just go to sleep and wake up at 11 o'clock in the afternoon and then just go and have my first meal, and then I'll have fasted the whole time, you know, like cheat code. That does not work, and I was literally gaining weight. You need to get up, move about for about 3 to 4 hours, and then you can have your first meal. You can't cheat it. I've tried it. You do have a little bit more room to have your treats. I feel like that's what's really worked for me because I have a major sweet tooth. I just cannot shake the damn sweet tooth. Just take intermittent fasting slow. It's not for everybody. It takes a little bit of time to adjust. Please also download the Zero app. It's not sponsored. I just really like the app and I feel like it's helped me a lot. If you guys have any more questions about intermittent fasting, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. That's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Making money like a mint, laying in my ice like shrimp, making dishes